students. In our previous session, we studied experimentation involves formation of groups by randomly assigning the subjects to the groups, equating the groups on the intervening variables, and randomly assigning the treatment to the groups. The purpose of experimentation is to study the effect of manipulated independent variable on the dependent variable. It involves formation of groups by randomly assigning the subjects to the groups, equating the groups on the intervening variables, and randomly assigning the treatment to the groups. The purpose of experimentation is to study the effect of manipulated independent variable on the dependent variable. In educational setting, independent variable can be manipulated in different ways. An outline needs to be drawn the way a researcher would like to manipulate independent variable. The main objective of this outlining the experimentation is to find out the true effect of manipulated variable. So it is important to outline the experimentation. Outline has to be drawn the way a researcher would like to manipulate independent variable. And sometimes certain factors creeps in while experimentation, while manipulating certain things. So these factors either come from the process of experimentation or from outside. Their presence interferes with the treatment. Under such circumstances, true effect of the treatment cannot be achieved. So, in order to get true effect, the researcher has to apply certain checks or controls so as to parcel out the effect of intervening variables. Process of applying these control is basic to the experimental design or classification of experimental designs. Applying these controls is the basic to the experimental design or layout of the experimentation. So, these may serve as the criteria for classification of experimental designs. So, in this session, we will focus on different kinds of experimental designs and the steps of experimental research involved. Types of experimental design. We know that researcher applies certain controls or checks to parcel out the effect of intervening variable. So in order to apply the controls, the researcher may assign subjects randomly to the groups, treatments to the groups randomly, equate the groups to the maximum extent with respect to various intervening variables, have post-test of all the groups involved in the experiment. So those designs where all the above mentioned criteria are satisfied are termed as true experimental design. Designs where all the four criteria are satisfied are termed as true experimental designs. These designs are very sophisticated, involving rigorous control and have limited practicability in educational settings. The researcher in educational setting may not be able to apply such rigorous controls. The reason being that the controls may take the researcher away from the reality, and in that case the conclusions of the experiment may not be generalized. So under such circumstances, the researcher may follow four criteria which I just mentioned in order to apply required controls. Therefore, experiments where above mentioned criteria are met termed as quasi-experimental designs. These designs have greater applicability in education. So once again, I am repeating four criteria: assign subjects randomly to the groups, assignment treatments to the groups randomly, equate the groups to the maximum extent with respect to intervening variables, have post-test of all the groups involved in experiment. So, researcher may follow some of the or any of the four criteria which I just repeated in order to apply required controls. Therefore, those experiments where any of the four criteria are met termed as quasi-experimental designs. These designs have greater applicability in education. Sometimes a researcher may feel such a situation or may come across a situation where it is difficult to follow even one or two of these criteria. The experimental designs where criteria like post-testing is possible are designated as pre-experimental designs. So, true experimental, quasi-experimental and pre-experimental designs. Experimental designs where criterion like post-testing is possible are designated as pre-experimental design. These designs have less scientific value for having inadequate control. So, according to the control, sophistication and rigor of control, there are three types of design which are arranged as or which can be arranged as pre-experimental designs, true experimental designs and quasi-experimental designs, which we will discuss one by one in detail. Pre-experimental designs which involve limited control over variables. True experimental design designs which include random assignment of participants to experimental and control, ensuring high internal validity. Quasi-experimental design, while not fully meeting the criteria of true experiments. Due to lack of random assignments, quasi-experimental design still involve manipulation of variables to study causal relationships in real-world settings. These designs resemble one another from point of view of purpose and their adherence to the principles of experimentation. They differ in the degree of accuracy with which they attack the problem or meet the essential criteria of control, manipulation, observation and replication. So no design solve all the problems. The nature of the problem determines which type of design is most appropriate and applicable, and how the design should be used to meet the requirements of the experiment. So, experimental designs are classified on the basis of four criteria: assigning the subject to the groups randomly, assigning the treatments to the groups randomly, equating the groups to the maximum extent with respect to various intervening variables, and having post-test of all the groups involved in experimental. So first of all, we will discuss pre-experimental designs. Pre-experimental designs provide little or no control of extraneous or situation variables. They are still being used in the study of educational problems. Suppose a researcher is interested in finding out the effect of educational television program on the general awareness of students. The program is launched as mass media programs in the public sector with a view to developing general awareness of school students. This program is available to particular region of the country. Maybe it is UP, MP or any region. This program is available means, or it is broadcasted in a particular region of the country. In this case, the treatment is television program that is already operative in the field. The researcher does not have to manipulate this program with a special objective, and he has no control over the treatment as well. In order to achieve his research objective, the researcher will take a group of students who are being exposed to that television program. So, get my point? In order to achieve or in order to fulfill his research objective, the researcher will take a group of students who are being exposed to that television program. For comparison or comparing the effect of this television program with conventional treatment, the researcher may take another group that who has not been exposed to that television program. So, due to field constraints, the researcher will not be able to randomly assign the treatment to the groups. He will be unable to equate the groups on intervening variables. He will be doing only one thing easily, that is, he will be able to measure general awareness, which is dependent variable or DV of subjects of both the groups after a particular period of time. In this experiment, the researcher has not formed the groups randomly. Treatments have not been given to the groups randomly, and the groups have not been equated on intervening variables. So both the groups have been post-tested. Thus, the experimental designs where only the criterion of post-testing of all the groups is met are called as pre-experimental designs. True experimental design. True experimental designs are mostly used for experimental research in education because they seek to control the main effects of history, maturation, testing, measuring instruments, statistical regression, selection, and mortality. The researcher may be interested in comparing the self-instructional method with the conventional method in terms of achievement of 10th grade students in science. In order to pursue this objective, the researcher may form two groups of students. Before proceeding further with the formation of groups, a researcher will try to find out those variables that may influence the achievement of students irrespective of the method of teaching. These variables can be intelligence, motivation, gender, socioeconomic status, previous achievement in science, etc. The researcher will equate these groups of students on these variables and randomly assign the students to the groups. If the mean score of students on these variables is computed, it will be found that the means of two groups will not differ significantly. That is to say that the two groups are equated on the above mentioned intervening variables. After formation of groups, the researcher will administer the achievement test to the students of both the groups. This is termed as pre-test. The pre-test scores will reveal initial differences, if any, with respect to achievement of students of the two groups. After this, the researcher randomly exposes one of the groups to the self-instructional method and the other group to the conventional method of learning or teaching. The group exposed to self-instructional method is designated as the experimental group because we are conducting experiment on that group. And group exposed to conventional group is termed as control group. The content of teaching and the time of exposure to treatment of both the groups remains similar. So experiment is conducted in the same situation. Therefore, the environmental variables like classroom environment, institutional environment, institutional climate, schedule in the school remain the same for both the groups. At the end of the treatment, both the groups are administered the same achievement test. The scores of students on this test constitute post-test scores. In this way, the dependent variable achievement of students has been measured before and after the treatment in randomized equivalent groups. The layout is as follows: pre-test and post-test control group design. This design is also called as randomized control group pre-test post-test design. So, with the same example, we may observe that the researcher has undertaken a study with the objective of comparing the self-instructional method with the conventional method for teaching science at 10th grade level. In pursuance of this objective, two equated groups are formed by randomly assigning subjects to the groups. Both groups are administered a similar achievement test as pre-test. The treatments are randomly assigned to the groups. The duration of the treatment has been similar. Both groups are at the end of the treatment. Both groups are administered the same achievement test. The score on this test are termed as post-test scores. And when a researcher follows this type of procedure during experimentation, he employs a pre-test, post-test control group design for the research study. In this design, the dependent variable achievement test, which depends on what? Self-instructional method, has been measured before pre-test and after post-test. The treatment method of teaching in the randomized equivalent groups. The difference between means of pre-test and post-test is found in order to ascertain whether experimental treatment produced a significant effect. Post-test only control group design. Post-test control group design. If we remove pre-test, then it takes the shape of post-test only. Control group design. Next, we will discuss quasi-experimental design. The two experimental designs provide full experimental control through the use of randomization procedure. However, in the field experiments, the researcher may have to take the whole group of subjects in an institution. So it may not be possible for him to divide the groups or randomly assign the subject to the groups. He may assign the treatments to the groups randomly. Further, he may try to equate these groups to the maximum extent under the existing circumstances. In such situations, the researcher has to depend upon quasi-experimental designs that provide as much control as possible under the existing conditions. If an experimenter uses a quasi-experimental design, it is necessary for him to know which of the variables his design may fail to control. A researcher must be aware of the sources that represent threats to both internal and external validity and consider them while interpreting the results of the experiment. Thus, the designs that met the criteria of random assigning of treatment to the groups, equating the groups to the maximum extent and administration of the post-test are classified as quasi-experimental design or compromise comparative designs. Strengths of quasi-experimental or experimental design. The design is valid against the internal validity criteria, history, maturation, testing, instrumentation, selection, and mortality of on the following things. If special events like debates, excursions, exhibitions, etc. occur during the period of experimentation, these will equally affect both the groups. Both the groups will have similar learning experience from the pre-test. This experience will affect the post-test performance in a similar manner. So, testing effect will be controlled. The individual differences, if any, will affect the post-test scores in both the groups. The effect due to individual differences will be balanced when the groups are compared. In this way, the effect of selection is internally controlled in the design. The experiments using this design are conveniently conducted in the school situations where the researcher has no control to manipulate the variables as per his design. In my next session, we will focus on steps in experimental research. Once again, Before closing this session, I will recall points. I will repeat the points. Types of experimental designs. There are three types of experimental designs. Pre-experimental, which involves limited control over variables and may lack randomization or control groups. True experimental designs. These designs include random assignment of participants to experimental and control groups, ensuring high internal validity. And finally, quasi-experimental design. While not fully meeting the criteria of true experiment due to lack of random assignment, quasi-experimental designs still involve manipulation of variables to study causal relationships in real-world settings. In our next session, we will discuss in detail steps involved in the process of experimental research.